Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Shade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Charles Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glenn. Oh, I gotta say it.
That was melodic.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's me, Anita Spray Tan. I'm joined by Chelsea Pinky and Glenn Bedstead. Bitch, don't look at me nodding in agreement.
Nah, we all look mad pale right now. Low
Not
key.
me.
Chelsea doesn't look very. I
do
mean,
kind of.
You do, girl.
For
The sun
what-
hasn't been out like
for
how
what
it should
you
be.
are. Not
This is what I am.
a derogatory way.
This is literally what I
It-
am.
it
There's no
could-
tan.
It
She's at her
could
base.
Be bad.
This is my color. What
I
do you
thought
mean
she's
for
at
what
her
I
base.
am?
No, I feel like it gets.
No, really? Damn,
Goodbye,
baby.
Sade.
All right. Well, see, let me just stop talking. I'm not here to offend. I was saying I thought you looked good.
Yeah,
Oh, you
this
know
is my regular
she's
color.
brighter than
Thank you. This is my skin
That's
color.
OT.
Listen, we do
Fucking
not
bitch.
condone
This is
colorism.
colorism.
Yeah,
Laden
reverse
laden
colorism.
conversation.
You guys say it's not a thing. I
We do
disagree.
not condone colorism on this episode, or at all. Anywho, I'm gonna jump right in, guys. I'm gonna leave Glenn on red.
What?
And then it's gonna take me into my reply.
Oh, what?
I'm leaving Glenn on red because Glenn is so flaky and finicky. And you know, when you're like, accept your friends for who they are. And it's like, sure. You know what,
I
bitch?
love this roast right now.
Fine. I'm gonna accept you for who you are. You ain't on time, you cancel plans, and you ain't on time. And
Yeah, Glenn, you got to be on time.
You don't
That's
have
not
a
nice.
concept of time. She really, really, in her brain, thinks that like New York and New Jersey are like 15 minutes apart. So it just isn't gonna work, and it's not gonna work for me. But you know what? That leads me to my reply. I was talking about this and I said, you know what? I have to prioritize me. Okay, I love my friends, but I need to show up how they're showing up. You late? I'm late. You ain't coming?
Oh, see,
I ain't coming.
I don't think two wrongs make a right.
It's
I
not
think
about two wrongs don't make a right. I just know who you are. I'm not going out of my way to be on time for you. Like, why would I do that? And then make myself mad because you ain't on time. Now, if there are other people involved, I will not make them innocent bystanders to the shenanigans. But if Glenn tells me to be there somewhere at 7:30, I'm getting there at 9.
No, 8.
Not 8. You leave for somewhere to be
yeah,
there
Glenn,
at
you
8
really
at
have to
8.
work on the time.
I'm
Do you
actually
go?
usually
You're
on time.
When have you ever been on time?
Maybe not with y'all.
Oh, so
See
that
what
makes
I mean?
respect
I
us.
need to prioritize myself.
Trying
Because to
think.
me, being on time is a sign of respect.
No, I'm usually a few minutes behind, a couple minutes. But I think I'm like, do I really be late all the time? Maybe I am.
Giving
With
CP
everybody?
time.
Am I always? Yeah, no. You know what? I take it back. It's not just y'all. I am. Sade was in the group last night. I don't know if you witnessed or you were reading, but I was supposed to meet some people last night at 8:30, and I got there at 9:30.
What did I say?
And then when I got there, everybody was like,
Uber
"Listen, we
nine.
gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." I'm like, "Why does everybody want to go?" And they're like, "You just want to stay because you were late." And they were all
Glenn,
texting me
But
like,
how you come late and then try to tell people why do they want to go and you're an hour late? That's
they were
ridiculous.
all like, it's so funny now because people, damn, it's bad. Whatever. I'll text people like, "Hey, just hit a lot of traffic," and they'll be like, "Girl, I know you didn't leave the house yet." I'm like,
Right.
damn,
You can't
y'all
use that excuse
know
every
me.
time.
Yeah, like, come on.
Y'all
So
know.
I'm just meeting you where you are. I'm not saying I'm doing it to be petty or vindictive or get back to you. I cannot frustrate myself. The one thing my mom will say, and she'll add a little twang to it, as though she was actually born in the Caribbean, but that's a whole other thing, is when you know a ting, don't act like you don't know what that ting is. And I know you, girl. You're late.
I'd be
But-
late. Like I'd be late to all my appointments, and I just be like, oh, train traffic. Because I just be thinking, I'm like, I could make it there in 30 minutes. It's a problem.
Don't you also think you could speak to your friend and say, hey, going forward, can you make an effort to be on time with me?
We've had these.
Oh, you've had the
conversations.
conversation. Okay.
Maybe not that gently. Maybe my.
I don't even
approach
mean
could have
gently.
been
I mean
more
like serious.
gentle.
Like it's not joking.
When
like,
you come
serious.
and pick me up on the corner by the school, I'll be there before you get there. But that's
Because
you
I
tell me.
lied to you. I tell you the wrong time. You think I'm ever gonna tell you the right time? I tell you I'm there when I'm leaving my house. Come on, girl. But the thing is, I'm at this space where I'm not necessarily trying to change you because I don't know what's going on with you that's making you late.
I just
So
be
I'm also
watching. I be
trying to be
watching
mindful.
YouTube. Literally, I be like watching YouTube, chilling, and I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I gotta start getting ready." Damn, and I'd be like,
But
"Yo,
the
I can
video
get ready.
will be there when you
I can get ready in
back.
15 minutes." I'm like, "I get ready in 15 minutes. Watch another video," and then I'm like, "Fuck, it's taking 30 minutes."
Anyways, so leaving Glenn's late ass on red, replying to refinding my sanity. And guys,
That was a good one.
you're late.
Not you
friends.
saying it was a good one.
I mean, it was a good one.
Check your
Sade's
late friends. Check your late friends.
I
Anyway.
have, and they're no longer late with me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Except for Glenn, but I've never had a serious conversation with her
Wait, that
about
late?
being late.
Fuck.
Well,
I'm really thinking about this like a lot right now.
It's not nice because
now it's not the
I
time
think-
to reflect.
I think on your end, maybe you think it's like nothing, but on the other person's end, maybe they didn't do something because they were trying to get to you on time. Maybe
That part.
Listen.
they cut something out that they could have done because they were trying to get to you. So you got to.
I don't think I've ever been late to a one-on-one. If I'm late to a group event, what's the big deal? Everybody else is there. Why y'all pressing me? I was late
Well,
to a
then just
group
say from
outing
the jump
yesterday.
you're not coming at that time. Just say what time you coming.
Facts. I don't think I have. Actually, I did reply. I did thumbs up it.
Didn't I say when you say you're going to come to something and you don't show up, just say you're not coming? Like, don't say you're going to come. Why would you say you're going to come?
Because sometimes I think I'm gonna come on the day that I said I was gonna come, and then I change my mind.
How about
It's
you
probably
just
better
start
to
with, "I'm not coming."
under promise,
Yes.
over deliver. So
can
say you're
say,
not
"I
going to come
might
and then
come."
pop up. No, say I'm not coming and then pop up. Surprise, I'm here.
I'm
You
not
guys are so
coming.
happy.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
if it's a reservation, we'll figure it out. Unless it's like something, very exclusive, which probably isn't.
Interesting. I'm gonna reflect on this.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
We'll talk to our therapist about it.
I don't. Is it? Should I bring that to her?
It seems like something is a miss.
Foot.
A foot.
Is
Wrong.
Really? I don't think that is true. Really? I'm really shook. I'm like, for real? If it's like an event and a cute moment, I will be there. I'm as I can.
Just dig the grave. Who's next?
Chelsea, would you like to hop in? I've been battered. I think I personally need to take a moment
Okay,
to
you need to take a
recover.
rest.
Take a rest.
Take a rest.
Wait, no. Go to the room where the Karens can cry.
Right, go to the Karen room.
I'm really like,
Because
wow.
no one feels
Not
bad for
here.
you that
I'm
you're
really
late.
shook. I can't believe that just happened to me. What?
Okay, I'll go. I will reply to old housewives of New Jersey.
Girl, you love that.
You love that shit,
So-
bitch.
So damn. Look at Glenn letting out her aggression on me now. So I rewatched, and Teresa is literally ridiculous. Her kids are ridiculous, but also she's a really good mom in like a weird way. Like, probably needs some help with the discipline part, but who knows? I'm not a mom. I might be terrible at it too, but she just like keeps her cool the whole time. Like her kids could be total monsters and she just like is keeping her cool. Anyways, I posted about it on my personal TikTok. So if you'd like to see clips, you can see them there.
You use the tick and the top.
You made a TikTok with multiple clips put
I
together?
have a TikTok with 700,000 views.
I know about that one. Yes.
That's your conspiracy one.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, I don't think you
It's
can use
not.
that. You can't really use that one as an example, Stace.
It's not a conspiracy one.
But you went viral. You went viral. You're a
did, I went
viral
viral.
moment. That's
Yes.
like a fun like party fact.
Right. I got a
went
lot of
viral.
haters
Yeah.
on the post. People telling me I was in
Yeah.
full glam when I wasn't.
That was hilarious. Like, sorry, you're mad.
That was actually like a housewife thing, remember? When they got mad at Kenya because she said she was sick and she was in
She
glam.
came in full glam.
And then
Anywho.
I am leaving on red the election results. It's very scary.
Ooh.
So can you, because I was listening to a couple podcasts about this morning, but I was a little distracted, and people were saying that it kind of just was like the run of the mill. It was like same old, same old. Like there was nothing super shaky. Maybe I misinterpreted.
No, a lot of important seats that we would, I guess everyone on this podcast at least would probably want to go blue.
Yes.
Didn't. And I'm not, I don't have the energy to be misinformation today, so I'm
That's
not.
fine. I need to do some digging.
Yeah,
all
I've
the
been
damn
avoiding the
research.
news
I'm in
all day.
regular.
I'm not gonna lie, but I do know it's quite
It's a cause for
quite doom
concern.
and gloom. Yes,
It's given doom and gloom. All right, I'm gonna dig into this after this. Jesus, Lord help me.
Yeah.
Or like not the right.
Number one, Texas with that nigga Abbott.
Well, so I'm on the Clubhouse. It's very interesting because it's so hard for a candidate because you have to hit. It's still Texas, right? So like all the LGBTQ stuff, even Black people are like not with it.
This is true. Latinos
Fucking with their
for
guns,
Trump.
fucking with their
Yeah.
guns. Can't do that in Texas. Shit, I'm in California and I don't like people talking about taking away people's guns at a certain level. Okay, it's a deeper conversation, but
Yeah, I was like,
yes.
don't just throw that out there. But yes,
It's
understand.
okay, trolls. Troll on. I'm Teflon made. All right, Glennie, your turn.
Well, damn. I was actually gonna reply to go into the polls because it was like a beautiful like community moment.
Your vote didn't matter. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, it didn't matter.
I'm joking.
But everybody was out. The girls were in the polls. All of the energy I was seeing all over social media was like really amazing. But damn, doom and gloom. And it was cool because I had a couple conversations with friends that were telling me that they were not going to vote. And then they were like, damn, I guess I just realized my polling place is up the street. Should I go? Who should I vote for? And like they went and did it, which is amazing.
Leave that shit on red.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what am I leaving on red? You know what? I don't really think I have it on red. I'm going to also reply and on red actually combined. I'm going to Mexico City with my parents for Thanksgiving, and I've been planning this whole like amazing itinerary for them. I'm trying to go to these like ass restaurants, and girl, these things are booked out. And I was talking to my friend about it, and she's like, it's your people that are doing it, the Americans. And it is.
Yeah.
I know it is.
Tickets are very expensive now.
There's reservations for these places I want to go.
No, but I'm saying I agree. It's becoming a hot spot where tickets are expensive. Reservations
It was never like that. Yeah.
It wasn't even like that, I would say, last year.
No.
It's getting OD.
It's listen, when we were in DC and that lady was like, Mexico City, I was like, blah.
Oh my God. That was so funny.
Polanco, yes. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm super hyped for the trip though, and like to take my parents there.
Yeah,
it'll be really fly and cute and amazing. And I'm so excited. Hotline blings. Anything blinging for the girls?
Honestly, it was this book. We were like, we all listened to it on audio, right?
Yes, we did.
I read it. It was a page turner. Just kidding. I listened to it on audio. It was great.
Yeah. Do you know, I listened to it in a day. Like I had to run so many. Wow, audiobooks are great.
Mm-hmm.
They're great.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah.
Like, obviously very different than like the touch and feel of a book, but like I wanted obviously to be very prepared for the interview and like
we were short on time.
And
yeah.
So I was like,
yeah. But yeah, that book definitely was. It was in our group chat. It was in another group chat of mine, and it was really just like jumping, like all the topics: eating, diet, health, being. Everything. It was just like a great book. And I'm so excited that we got a chance to have a conversation with the author, who is also our Black girl doing shit.
All right, y'all. It's time for the group chat.
So this episode, our Black girl doing shit is Danielle Prescod. Danielle is a 15-year veteran of the beauty and fashion industry and a graduate of NYU's Gallatin School of Individualized Study. A lifelong fashion obsessive, She was most recently the style director of BET.com. With Chrissy Rutherford, Prescod co-founded 2BG Consulting, which aids fashion and beauty brands and influencers on their anti-racism journeys. She dedicates her time to researching how feminism and social justice intersect with pop culture. She has been featured recently in Harper's Bazaar, The Cut, and Elle, and was named one of Ulta Beauty Muse's 100, celebrating the most inspirational Black voices in beauty. She's also the author of the newly released memoir, Token Black Girl, which we're going to discuss on this episode today. You can follow Danielle at Danielle Prescod on Instagram and on TikTok at Danielle Prescod 7. Welcome, welcome, Danielle.
Welcome.
So excited that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So jumping right in with the book, Token Black Girl, can you set the foundation for this conversation by just defining what a token Black girl is?
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess I can define it how I define it. Because I think that some people might have their own opinions of it. Like, I think what's been kind of surprising, this is a little tangent, is that some people have like a negative connotation with the term. So they don't like that it's the title of the book. But I made it the title of the book because I feel like it's empowering. It's basically the idea of a token, whatever person, but in my case, it's a Black girl, is that when there is no ethnic variety, no racial variety in a group, or specifically within institutions, there is this propping up of a singular person of color as this beacon of diversity to prove for optics sake that the organization or the institution is not racist because it welcomes people. But it's more like being a pet than it is being a full person. So it sometimes puts people in uncomfortable positions. For me, I was kind of indoctrinated into it in childhood by nature of the schools that I went to being largely white schools. And so I was tokenized by being photographed and put on the brochure of my school or on the website. And it was like, I never asked for that responsibility. No one ever asked me how I was doing, how I was faring, but, it signaled to the outside world, look, we have a Black girl that goes to school here and she plays amongst all the white girls. So everything's fine. Welcome your child to this utopia. You know what I mean? And so it really strips the tokenized person of their agency, of their power, of their humanity, because they're not able to access anything outside of their image.
I also love that you said that it's your definition of token Black girl, because the group chat was buzzing as we were reading this book. It would be like, oh my God, are you at this part? Are you at this part? Are you at that part? And I think we've all had an experience of being tokenized, being the only, whether it be at school, work, etc., maybe not having the language in those moments to stand up for ourselves. But it's so true. All of the experiences, while they share things, they're also so different. Like your experience of coming from Greenwich and going to that school, my experience of being from Brooklyn and going to boarding school, similarities and differences. So I love that you describe that we're not a monolith, the token Black girl.
No, yes, it's so true. Not even within this subset of Blackness, is it all the same? And I hope that there's more space opened up for people to claim their own stories and be able to talk about things that happen to them, to know that, your position and your perspective is valuable too. Just because I wrote this book called Token Black Girl doesn't mean I am the token Black girl, which I think has been a really nice kind of byproduct of writing the book, that it's grown this community accidentally of people that in some cases didn't even realize it. They were like, I didn't realize that's what was happening to me, or I didn't realize that that's what it's called.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about your childhood and where I think a lot of this book is also about your quest for belonging and some misconceptions that you had about your identity and your value and worth as a Black person, and a lot of times coveting whiteness and upholding whiteness as something to aspire towards. And there were just moments, and another one that came up in our group chat was this instance when you were very young. I can't remember what grade exactly, but you drew yourself as a white girl when you were asked to draw a portrait of yourself. And I personally was so surprised at how like the adults in your life seemed to receive it. And you said that like people kind of take it as like a joke in your family now. I'm just curious about kind of how your parents raised you. I know that you said they also raised you to be colorblind, and maybe how all of those things might have influenced your sense of self as a Black child.
I think what's really kind of frustrating about writing a memoir is that I can only write from my own experience. I'm not a parent. I don't have children, but I was a child and now I'm an adult. So I can only reflect on my perspective on things of like when I was a child. And so I can't critique what my parents chose to do or didn't do for me in those moments, because, you know, I don't believe that there was malicious intent. I didn't write this to be like, I was abused and this is what I talk about in therapy. Like my parents did not reinforce enough that, you know, it was amazing to be Black. And so I think it's challenging for people to imagine what that's like. But I also think that like, if you ever watch like adults deal with a surprising instance from a child, like, I don't know, a 6-year-old's like, where do babies come from? And the adult panics and they go, the stork. And it's like, we know that's not true, but like, that's how that stuff ends up snowballing out of control. And the kid's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then never ask the question again. And the parent is like, oh no, do I have to explain to them? Like, that's not actually where babies come from. When's appropriate to like talk about biology? When do I like start talking about intercourse? When do I use proper body terms? All of those things, you know, is up to the individual parent and family. And from my perspective, I think my parents were like, she'll turn out okay. They're not necessarily emotional or sentimental people. So I have asked them like over the years about things, but because like I'm a writer, I romanticize my whole life. Like a lot of this stuff was like written in my diaries, you know? And so I'm like, I was the main character at 9 years old. Like there's a diary entry that says, the world was against me today. Like what was I writing about?
The drama. I also
a true Leo.
I wonder like, because yeah, you were having your experience as a token, but like, in a way, so is your mom, so is your dad. Like they were raising kids in this very white area. Have you ever talked to them about their experiences as tokens?
And that's the thing though, my parents are, again, they're not emotional. So they just kind of like, they're very like shut down about it. Like, yeah, that happened, but like, it's all good now. Like they don't really like reflect as much. I mean, they're also like older. My parents are in their 70s. Like they're not like thinking in that way. Like, what did this action mean? I can't explain it, but it's just like,
no, I get it.
Like, yeah.
Different generation.
I think that, you know, they did their best. I think that when all is said and done, we still have a very close relationship. This is not something that to me indicated that they didn't love me or that I should be loved any less. I think they didn't really know what to do and I didn't really know what to do. And sometimes what's really frustrating about Blackness in America is like the expectation that you just know better, right? Like you just have this like sense of this complete sense of history, this complete sense of like cultural understanding. I think that's a really impossible benchmark for anyone to achieve. So like, I know, like, I was raised in PWI. So if white people are talking about, oh, we don't know how to be allies, we don't know what to say, we don't know what to do. And then they look at me and I'm like, hello, I'm in your same school. Like it's not here. So how am I supposed to know? And my parents as well, like they each went to PWIs like their whole life. I don't think that it was, you know, really something that they were conscious of taking from me. I think that they were just trying to be like, they'll figure it out.
How did that dynamic work with your grandpa who was like trying to show you the slave ship picture all the time? like what was, I think, that experience from having this grandfather who seemingly, like per how you wrote in the book, was really trying to be like, remember where we came from, remember these things about us, and then being like the only Black person in the environment.
And those encounters were scary for you too. you wrote about.
Yeah, because he was just so intense. And also like the stories were just so brutal and violent. And I was just like terrified all the time. I was truly terrified that someone was gonna kidnap me and make me a slave. Like that's really like what I thought would happen to me. So I was like, I don't want to hear about it. And I also think that contributes to my reluctance to like hear anything. I was very shut down. So you could have told me stuff and I was like, I'm not hearing it. It's not reaching me, you know? And I was very like frustrated with that because he would teach us these lessons. And I'm like, this is not in school. I do not need to know this for a test. Like, why do I have to do more school outside of school? Like no one else is having to do this. It's incredibly frustrating. And I think, you know, it was one of those things my parents were like, first of all, let them go be watched by their grandparents because my sister and I are so close in age, they're maniacs. So that there was like a break for them. And it was a generational thing, like, you know, let the grandparents like say what they're going to say to them. And my parents were handling it in their own way. They had white dolls. Like that was a rule. Like we always, my parents went out of their way to find books with Black protagonists for us. And there wasn't a lot in the 90s. And so I think that in their little ways, they tried without having the kind of explicit conversation until like much later. When I was 15, 16, they were like, your future matters more now. You can't be doing the same things that your white friends do, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm just curious really quickly. You dedicated the book to your grandparents. Was that the grandparent that would show you the portrait, the picture?
Yes, those are that was that grandparent. It's also because my grandma and I used to have a little book club and it was just us. So she like got into reading Harry Potter because I read Harry Potter. She read all V.C. Andrews books with me. So my poor grandma was reading only like YA books with just me.
That's so cute.
I wonder, like, knowing like your experience and like, honestly, some parts of the book I was reading it and I was like, I feel terrible for her that she had to experience that. Knowing what you went through, would you raise your kid in a white neighborhood?
Wow, that's such a good question. And no one's ever asked me that before. Would I raise my kid in a white neighborhood? Well, I don't know if I'm having kids. I want to, but
what about the egg freezing? I thought you got your eggs frozen.
I did freeze my eggs, but guys, I'm terrified to like have a kid by myself. Like I'm already stressed out taking care of me and I don't even do a good job of that. So I think all the time, if I don't get a partner, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use the eggs. Like I think it would be unless, you know, I sell a lot of books, I become like as famous and wealthy as Mindy Kaling, then hello, single motherhood. I can't wait. But like
right.
Okay, so are you gonna be a single mom in a white neighborhood? I'm like, I want to hear this answer because I think about it in terms of like schooling and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So I think it depends on where I live. Right now, I currently live in New Orleans, which is a very Black city. I live in the French Quarter in a luxury apartment building. It is like a big mix of all kinds of people. In New York City, though, I lived in Manhattan and I was at some points the only Black person who was living in my building for sure. I lived on the Upper East Side. So it's like I have had now both experiences. However, now I stay in New Orleans in Louisiana, I likely would send my private school because in Louisiana, the education system scares me. And I think the only way to ensure they're getting a caliber and quality of education that I would expect, I would have to go private. If I was raising my child somewhere else, like New York City, I would certainly look into options like of schools in like Brooklyn, Queens, like more diverse neighborhoods. Probably not a Fifth Avenue prep school.
Right.
It's like such a confusing concept. Like I have a niece and she just started at Packer, which if you know anything about New York, it's like, you know, one of those private independent schools. And it's like, she's so bright and it's so great that she got this full scholarship, but what is all the social, emotional shit that she's going to go through that I know firsthand and I know it's coming for her. So it's like that catch-22.
I know that's also really hard too. Cause I'm like, like you said, it's so competitive to get into them. So then I'm like, yeah, if my kid does get into avenues, am I going to rob them of a chance to go to this like incredible school? Like, I don't know like what I would do.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's a crazy world. Like, I think I'm personally grateful for my education, despite everything that happened. You know, I also don't consider myself to be, I don't know. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm not traumatized to the point. Like, there are certain people who come out of like prep schools who are traumatized.
Yeah.
They never go back. They never talk about it, and horrible things happen to them. I don't feel like that reflects my experience. So I think I would consider it for the individual child, like see how they're doing.
Yeah. They would just have to really be equipped with those tools of like understanding themselves. And I don't know, it's tricky. Chelsea and I also taught in private schools, and yeah, special attention needs to be paid
To Black
It's tricky.
kids.
And I also think that's why I'm invested too in like helping to shift institutions and what they are doing to protect students of color in their community, because I don't think that they're doing enough. And I don't want to rob a kid from the experience of thriving at a school that could serve his academic needs, but also harm him emotionally or psychologically.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about the social dynamics actually in your schooling, because it seemed like in some instances you didn't like dislike being the token. It felt like you kind of liked your position. And then there were also instances where you said that not only did you want to fit in with the white kids, but you wanted to feel superior to them.
Yeah. So I think a byproduct of tokenization is like scarcity mindset. So it kind of like makes you think you can be the only one, you should be the only one. It's dangerous if there's more than one, which is why the epigraph in the beginning of the book is from a Malcolm X speech from May of 1962, where he's basically like, who taught you to hate who you are, like how you look and your fellow people? Because who is actually served by you not being able to relate to other people in your community? Only white supremacy is served by you. You're harmed by it. Other Black people are harmed by it. The only people who benefit from that are white people. So that's my thought number one on that. And yeah, in terms of like fitting in or being superior, I think that at least a lot of the media that I kind of consumed was like, what happens when someone is a quote unquote victim of racism? Like they behave a certain way, their response is a certain way in order to have like a Disneyfied outcome. Like now everyone sees that like that attitude is wrong, so we can kumbaya and, you know, everyone can apologize and we can move the story along. But I feel that sometimes if you have a certain amount of anger that you are channeling, like it can like unleash on other people. And that's what I did. I was like, I was so angry like all the time, but I didn't have the ability to access my anger. So I was like really mean as like a middle schooler, a high schooler. I would say I was also hangry, if you guys know what that means, like hungry and angry.
Yes.
You know that commercial that's like, you need a Snickers. I like constantly need a Snickers because I never ate anything.
Well, yeah, that is also a big topic in the book. I want to get into both of those things, the mean girl idea and the body image. The mean girl thing was really fascinating to me. And we were talking about this instance earlier where you have this scene where like this white girl was talking about her leggings and if she should go change.
Kristen, I wanted to slap her.
I think, oh yeah, it's in college. Her name's Elise. Or her fake name. I changed everyone's name in the book in case you're wondering.
Okay. Yeah.
But you said that like
damn.
you wanted to like clap back at her, have a mean moment with her because she didn't deserve to have, well, you were kind of upset that she got to show an emotion of weakness that you felt like was not afforded to you as a Black person.
Yes, it made me so resentful. I always hated when people were like able to be so publicly vulnerable. Like, you know, she was able to be like, I'm not sure if I should wear this, and like seek out the approval of the group. Whereas like, I feel like as the token Black person, the group is not really equipped to like evaluate like whether or not you look good, because they're so influenced by white supremacy. And oftentimes like you will be overlooked, you will be picked last, you will be dismissed, rejected, etc. So in that instance, I'm just like, I'm essentially so jealous that like she gets to feel this way and then everyone else is supporting her. So I was just like, enough, like you shouldn't wear these leggings, they look dumb, you know? And she was so like hurt by it and like shocked by it.
And did it make you feel good when you were mean to people? Did it give you like satisfaction?
It didn't necessarily make me feel good, but it made me feel powerful, which was very important to me. Because like I said, I just felt like I had no agency. So it made me feel like I was in control. Like I get to like steer this ship the way I want to.
Yeah, I completely get the mean girl navigating when you're in very white spaces. Like I went to a public school that was like very Black, and when we would get into it, we would fight. I fought from kindergarten to 5th grade. I was fighting everybody. I was like, oh, you have a problem? Okay, cool. And we would like fight. And then I went to my private school and I was like, they have a problem, so we're fighting. And they were like freaking out. My mom was like, you're gonna get kicked out of this school. Like, what are you doing? You cannot fight here. This is ridiculous. Like really went crazy. I think that year I was supposed to go to like Disney or something. And she was like, you're not gonna go to Disney. And I was like, damn, I can't fight. I'm gonna miss Disney.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, in maybe weeks, I learned the game. I was like, oh, this is psychological and emotional warfare. Like, this is how we're doing it. We're not using our hands, like we're using our minds and our words. And I was terrible, but like it's a whole different world.
No,
it's a whole different world of navigating. It's like people are
it's more psychological warfare. It's not physical.
Is.
And you talk about that in the book too, and we've seen it in like Mean Girls. Like we see the mean white girl trope. But I'm not gonna lie, when I was reading the book and there were scenes or like stories of you being mean to a white girl, probably my own bias, I was like, yes, get him back. Probably not nice.
Me too.
But in my own experience, because as I mentioned, I went to boarding school, very white, dropped in there from a girl from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Some of the Black girls with money were like worse than the white girls to me, you know, like to other Black women. And you kind of alluded to it. I know you talked about reading a story about this Black girl from the Bronx, and like you could not relate to her, and all, you know, the story was pretty terrible. Can you speak to that part of your experience at all?
And class, I think specifically, is important to consider here.
Yeah. So, yes, I think that I think that the mean girl Black on Black crime, like I say that as a joke, I don't actually think that there's Black on Black crime. I just need to clarify that.
Yeah.
So, I think that again, that like results from like scarcity mindset. I think I also had like trouble with the girls who were like older and Black above me at school. I always wanted them to like me, and there was so much tension and friction, and we never got along. And it's like a huge regret of mine that the school did not cultivate a space where we could like be together, where like it was safe for us to like exist in a friendly way, because they did that for every other thing. Every team or class, you know, peer advisory group had team building activities and like retreats and stuff they would go on where they would bond, and like there's nothing offered like that for students of color, especially Black girls. I think it would have helped them tremendously. And as for me, like, I feel like when I was growing up, the thing that was so linked to Blackness was poverty. And it was linked in popular media. It was linked in news stories. I mean, it was just like, this is the narrative that is, you know, being put out there. But I did not feel like I could relate to that experience. And like, we always had food, we had a lot of things, we had a house, we had cars, you know, so I was like, I don't understand that aspect of it. And that also made me feel, and some other people made me feel, that that was something that made me not Black. Like Black people would be like, oh, you're not Black because, you know, your dad drives a Mercedes. That doesn't happen. But I knew, you know, kids, I'm not Black because of these things. Then I'm also being told by white kids, I'm also not Black because they don't understand a Black person who's not poor. So it really is just like a confusing space to live in, because again, I know I'm not white, but everyone's now telling me I'm not Black, which is, I think, just confusing. So I didn't really know how to handle it. And I think for a long time, having that financial privilege made me deny that anything like bad happened to me, because I was like, well, you know, you can only be, you only get to write a memoir if you have a really sad story. Like no one's going to feel bad for you. You don't get to complain about anything. Everyone would always just say, you're so lucky. You're so lucky you went to that school. You're so lucky your parents are together. You're so lucky you have this house. You're so lucky you go on vacation. So I just hear this and I'm like, yeah, I don't get to feel bad ever.
Interesting.
You don't
And
get
like
to feel
you
human.
are invalidated because the trope of a struggling Black person looks very different than you, even though you were kind of navigating and struggling in your own way. Yeah, that's really kind of like a mind fuck.
It's a mind fuck, and I empathize with it, but I also would like to say that, like, I don't know, for me, it's also like, I don't know, I feel like being Black in America is just it's like being fucking schizophrenic kind of, but it's like, it is tough, but it's also like, I don't know, I have so many thoughts right now, like the idea of, okay, but at least you didn't, I'm going to gather my thoughts.
Gather yourself, girl.
It's so complicated.
iOS it.
So layered.
It's so complicated and layered. Like you and I, we had a DM exchange. I don't even know if you remember, but I was like moving into the fashion industry, and we were talking about like networking and like Black women not always having those networks. And I think sometimes Black women who come from more access maybe don't always recognize what other Black people are dealing with, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's like, is it their job to recognize it? But then again, it's like, well, yeah, is it their job to recognize it? We're kind of a community. So it's very confusing to be Black in this country.
Yeah, I think that's like also like really tricky, because again, it like adds another level of like labor for you to do. I think it's especially like within fashion, there was like a lot of criticism over like the late Andre Leon Talley. A lot of people like, you know, after he died, were like, well, he never helped anybody. Like that was really wrong and blah, blah. You know, they were just really critical of him. And he wrote 2 books. The memoir on the later half of his life, I was like, this man was struggling so deeply, like with his physical health, with his mental health. He like wrote that he, you know, never felt love. Like, I just was like, it was to me one of those things that's like, how can you help someone with their oxygen mask and yours isn't on? And I think sometimes it's like something that is really hard about these jobs that look so fun and so glamorous. It's like, why aren't you helping more people? But I'm like, it looks so fun, so glamorous, and I'm drowning. I'm so miserable. I would tell people, I'm like, I don't want you to get this job because I care about you. Yeah. This sucks. Run away. Like, you know, but it's like, there's only certain people you feel comfortable even saying that to. And so I think, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I know what like my personal capacity for helping people is. I try my best to do what I can, but I don't know, like I can't feel so responsible and so guilty, like for every little thing, like all the time. It's really, it's just a lot of pressure. And I don't think that like white women feel that like ever.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that honestly, that's why reading the book was so good, at least for me and like everyone I was DMing, because it was like, okay, we're understanding like another perspective and like someone else's experience and a little like that vulnerability, which I'm sure was extremely scary to write. Like, was that
Yeah.
scary for you to be
I was
that
curious about that
vulnerable in
too.
this book?
And were you afraid of judgment?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I was totally afraid of the judgment.
You was calling people out like that one, that company, blah, blah,
And
blah.
she said
and I
that.
was like, she pulled out the fucking AK-47 at the end of the book.
I didn't know the quote about John Mayer. Now I can't listen to
Me
the music.
either.
And Haley Baldwin.
Oh, yeah. You see, it's like, it's crazy how like almost a conspiracy to like get them like scrubbed away. But again, like then you don't know how damaging it is when like a brand is like, hey, we're going to a John Mayer concert, and your boss is like, that's an advertiser, get your ass to Madison Square Garden. Like that is really heavy, like over years and years and years and years and years of like having to continuously interact with people who you know are saying and doing horribly racist stuff.
Yeah.
We've said we want to do an episode on this and we still don't know what it is. I feel like there is something to the Black fashion girl. Like, unfortunately, in the past, I think it's way better now, but I'd say like
Still has its issues.
5-10 years ago, it felt like there could only be like one Black girl per like publication, if that. And then
or it's like a Black woman group that's like locked
in within this group that's already locked. And I imagine a lot of women in that space had maybe like similar experiences to you where they were like tokenized. So now they're all in this kind of like, I gotta eat. This is like scarcity mindset. And then you bring that all together in this super toxic environment that is the fashion space. And it's just like a toxic soup. It's like, and I think people are getting way better. You know, we see stuff like Black and Fashion Council. Love Sandrine, love the work that Lindsay's doing there. But like, did you even feel like something like that could have existed when you were really in the space? Because now everyone's like, we're Black, we're brown, yay. But before it was giving like,
but let's be honest, we
there's only one of us.
It still has its issues, and
it
still has its issues.
There's like some gatekeeping energy.
Yeah, there's still gatekeeping, for sure.
Okay, guys,
let's keep it real. Don't be fake on the episode.
No, I'm definitely saying that it's problematic. What I'm trying to get from the question is like, did you even envision that could have happened? Because is like where we are now, and it's still shit. It's progress from where we were before.
For sure.
Okay, I have a question for y'all after I answer this question. But,
yeah, I'm like, she's like, what the fuck is going on?
This is a group chat. It's a group chat.
It's really fun. So to answer the question, no, I did not ever think that. It was like kind of like a weird like secret sisterhood. Like it was almost like a whisper network, you know, for a while. And then I think slowly but surely, like one person gets a little bit braver, and then another person gets a little bit braver because you see that like you are not going to get fired, or like something is not going to like you get enough power to be able to be like, okay, nothing is like, I think that was a true fear for a lot of people, that like they would lose their job. And it wasn't like an imagined fear. Like I think that
I did lose mine. I said I did lose mine when I spoke up to my white boss.
Hello, it happens all the time. So, and if you work so hard to get there, like years of interning, years of struggling, like working for free, it's like sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut. But I think that now we're definitely in a space where I never thought, like in 2012, if you told me we would have had like a shut down a restaurant with a Black and Fashion Council dinner, I'd be like, you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know like how you guys think, like what gatekeeping you guys think exists, particularly in fashion.
There definitely still is like an air of like supremacy feels like a harsh word, because I think white supremacy, and I don't think it's that deep, but there's definitely like still this air of like, it's fashion,
like,
you know,
the right
it's kind of
Black
like
girl.
And the same girls and the same faces,
the same
like
kind of
the
Black
same
girl.
opportunity, get all the opportunities, it feels like, that are at all the things. It feels a little
it's like the same 10
exclusionary.
yeah
But
you know what, I do want to challenge that in terms of the same girl, in terms of like what they look like, because I feel like before everyone had to be like thin, look kind of white, talk quote unquote white. I think that's changed, but yeah, it definitely feels like it's still very, someone has to let you in.
And we talk about that too, like the idea of like being Black with privilege. Like everyone on this call has a certain level of privilege. Like I know me, I'm like a light-skinned girl. Like I know that comes with something. Like So
Mhm.
how do you feel about that word? Because I feel like being Black, it's kind of like, oh, don't tell me I have privilege because I'm Black.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh yeah. I feel neutral about it. I think that, like you said, everyone has a certain level of privilege. Like being able to like speak my interior thoughts, that's a privilege. Being able to walk is a privilege. Like, and I understand these things. Like there are people who cannot do those. So I feel privileged in that way. So I don't, and I understand it. It's not, to me, it's like the problem is abuse of privilege, not having privilege itself. Like if all walking people took out, wheelchair ramps and like made every single building only accessible by stair, that's evil. That's an abuse of privilege. And that is essentially like what white supremacy sets up a structure to do. And that's why like people are still like adverse to the concept of privilege, but like you can occupy a marginalized reality and a privileged reality at the same time. Like it's possible. And I just don't get people don't get about that.
I think that there's a lot of work to be done like amongst Black women, frankly, where like there's a lot of people who have to get out of the scarcity mindset. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had about like learned behaviors that you probably unfortunately are getting from white women that you then healing. Woo, that you then go and execute on other Black women. But it's hard to be like super critical at the same time because like Chelsea had said, like you peel off the layers, or you're talking about Andre Talley, like you peel off the layers and you're like, oh, this person was hurting.
And
That's
with
the thing I
fucking
think we
white
really have to
supremacy.
remember. Like we're all human at the end of the day. And like I think especially when it comes to like other Black women, I'm always like, it's worth it to have a conversation for me. Like, I mean, I even did like some apologizing, like when I was like writing the book, I was like, there's some people I have to say sorry to, and I think that I'm better for it. I think that our relationships are better for it.
Yeah.
How did you get to that like reflective space though? Like, because I feel like sometimes when you're, I don't want to say doing wrong, but yeah, it was kind of fucked up some things. Like, how do you then, like in that moment, do you know like this was wrong, but I did it anyways, and now I need to go and like apologize?
In the moment, no way. Like, I mean, it's like there's nothing like being a digital editor and like your weekends are occupied. You're out as soon as you open your eyes, you're on Slack. Like I'm like, my life was like hell for so many years. Like there was not even time to like really like think about stuff like on that level. And I think that's why also the media industry is suffering, because people are not even able to be people. Like that's why some of these like news headlines are so harsh, or
Out
like
of touch.
horrible stuff takes place and people are out there recording with their phones instead of like helping the individual, because like I don't know, like something is broken in us. So I think like once you like start healing that part of you, it opens you up to then be able to be like, oh wow, I probably should reflect and apologize on this. Because when I wrote the book, I was like, I don't want to sit here and be like, woe is me, like all these bad things happened to me, like Black people didn't like me. And I was like, yeah, that's like a cop-out though. Like I have to say, if I'm meeting children who can like sniff out essentially that I am operationally in service to white supremacy, it's going to be threatening to them and we're going to have a conflict. Like, and of course children don't have that vocabulary and language, but like now I can say that. So it would be inauthentic of me to be like, yeah, like I was bullied, without being like, here's the things at work. Cause I tried to be like, here were the things at work when I was acting out of my character or in a way that I found was defensive, outward towards other people.
Yeah. I want to just quickly jump into beauty, because you talked about like all the pain you would go through with beauty. Even like the thong thing, I was like, girl, with the extra small, I was like, I know that was painful.
Relatable content.
You were doing that too, Glenn?
Well, I wore thongs at a young age, thinking
With
I was
that
cute.
with your big booty?
And they poked out one day and my whole school saw it, and then it was like a whole thing.
It wasn't
Glenn
a
is
nanny
extra
moment.
small?
No, Glenn is in a thong.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so the thong moment, that was like, I was like, I know that was painful. And the not texturizer,
The hair,
relaxer, just sitting
Mhm.
there like trying to get it as straight as possible. All of these things, like your relationship to beauty. Can you talk about it then and now? And I also want to know what you would say to little young Danielle about her beauty.
Okay. So yes, I always thought like you had to suffer for beauty. You know, that isn't that like a saying too, like pain is beauty, beauty is pain or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
beauty's pain.
People keep saying that. So like, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, these things hurt. Like high heels hurt, like thongs hurt, your hair hurts. Like it's just like the way it is, you know? And I didn't know that like life could be different. I really thought like you gotta like suffer for everything. But I also feel like that's related to like capitalism and hard work and like all of like those things intersect to like produce that kind of mindset. And it was just reinforced for me. So I rose to the occasion every time I could. And it made me in a lot of ways like feel like I was in control because I was very interested in becoming as empty of a vessel as I could, which is like why it felt like such a relief to like not eat. I was like, if everyone's going to project what they want me to do onto me and how they want me to behave and what they want me to say and how they want me to dress, like it's easy to just be empty. And then I can, you know, float around and it's less painful. And where I could take control is like, I'm like, no, I want my hair to look this way. I want to wear this. I want to eat this or not eat this. That made me feel like powerful, like I guess in a way. So yeah, I always thought I would suffer for beauty. And as for like little Danielle, I'm very invested now in like working with young girls because I think that now I mean, I'm super conscious of the way that like all of these companies exist to like make you consumers and your insecurities benefit a lot of people financially, but so much of this stuff is made up. Like, first of all, white supremacy is made up. It's literally fake. It's just as crazy as the people being like birds aren't real, like same level. And beauty is subjective. Like it looks different in many cultures. It looks different all over the world. Like it looks different to you. Like, and you know, I think that reminding people that not everyone is the same. Like I think one like aha moment I had like in eating disorder recovery is like I had a doctor who was like, you could have identical twins. They could have the same diet, the same exercise routine, and still end up with different bodies, like as adults. Like it is just what happens. Like you don't need to look exactly like your sister. You don't need to look exactly like this person. It is okay, like to be who you are. And I think emphasizing that for young people is like really good. I hope they're getting that message that it's like okay to be who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that because the standard was associated with a beauty standard of whiteness, that it like was like a double down? Or do you think that just at that time it kind of was what it was, like what you were seeing? You opened the book talking about that magazine cover and how all those like teen girls that everyone wanted to be, like that's what it was.
Blondes.
Yeah, because when you were talking about your butt like growing, I was like, she was sad about her butt growing. I remember putting on extra shorts so that it looked like my butt was bigger. Like everybody
when my
wanted
butt started growing, I was terrified, but that's just because I was getting a lot of attention for it, and it was like,
yeah, that's what also was scary.
Yeah,
like the attention you're getting too, and you're like, I don't want this, but I can't control it. Again, like if I can control something, I'm like, I want to do that.
And now people are paying.
Yeah.
I know. It's really disturbing.
With this new embrace and kind of understanding you have around beauty, you also talk a lot in the book that you were trying to deny your Blackness. And I'm curious how you've come to embrace your Blackness now and what even that means. Because you touched on that earlier, that it's Blackness can be hard to define, or it can be defined many different ways.
It can. Yeah. And I think like, one thing that really helped me was like working at BET, because I had such a fear of like going into that environment, because I was like, it's gonna be like when I was little, they're gonna be like, you're not really Black, you don't deserve to work here. you know, and actually like it was fine because we were all united in like our singular mission to like bring Black culture to our audience. Like, and as big as the audience was, we had an audience in the Bible Belt, like who loves to watch like Tyler Perry dramas. We have like a coastal audience who loves to watch musical biopics. We have like, you know, a younger audience who loves to watch YouTube. Like everyone had their own like kind of like space to like exist in, and we were all Black. It was all kinds of versions of Blackness. And it's kind of like the beauty of being an adult. Like actually no one cares as much as you think that they might. And so that was really like freeing for me. And I would also say like finding like other women to talk to who can relate about this. One thing that's really common for like people who have eating disorders is keeping a lot of secrets. And now that the book is out, I feel like a lot of relief because I'm like, I don't have these like secrets anymore, but it also has given other people the opportunity to be like, oh, I also felt like that. And I'm not ashamed anymore. And like, thank you so much for like putting a voice to that, because like some of these things are shameful. Like people are like, oh my gosh, like, how could you say that? You know, how could you say like you didn't want to be Black? And I'm like, yes, but I was ashamed at the time. I'm like writing about a growth experience, but it would be really disingenuous if I cut that part out. If I just made it seem like, no, I always have been 34 and conscious. Like, no, I had to like get here, you know?
Yeah, that's super valid. And I think that to your point of it, just like people being able to relate, like for all the people who might be criticizing you, for them to sit and reflect on their moments. Like I can't speak for everyone else, but I've had colorist thoughts. I've had anti-Black thoughts. I have had all of it, you know, and everyone navigates it very differently. Your environment like really is either going to like amplify and or what's the word? What's the antithesis of that? Oh yeah, dog. I didn't want to say decrease, shrink. Right isn't here, so that helps. Shrink those sentiments, but like we've all gone through this, and so you know, I think everyone was able to kind of have those moments when we were reading the book, like, yeah, damn, I had that same shit happen to me,
and it's not our fault,
right?
Yeah, and it's like it's just like a part of growth, and like hopefully everyone's quest is to become a better person and like be the best person you can. Like I'm reflecting on college, which is embarrassing, but I was in Kappa Kappa Gamma, and my experiences with like the all Black
has the same fucking
I know. My experience with the to be fair, the Black girls in KKG made their own like little sorority, but anyways, there were 4 of us. I remember we would have like what is it called when the BSU meetings, and like I feel like I would say things and then like be like, that was so fucking stupid, why did I say that? And it was just like me being enthralled in this like such a white environment, and you're just trying to fit in because you're just like young and like just trying to live, like you want to have a college experience, you don't want all the heavy shit. But I'm like, if I were who I am now back in college, it would be so different, you know?
So different. You probably you might not even gone there.
I would
right?
I would have never went there, that white ass school.
Where did you go?
Colgate University. And every day on Yik Yak, it was the hot Black girl. That's what I had to read every day. Like, cute for a Black girl. A Black girl.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Yik Yak was fucking
do you remember
toxic.
Yik Yak? Did you have that when you were in college?
I didn't have that.
I don't think, I mean, I know what it is, but we didn't really have, we had a message board. It was toxic too.
It was so toxic.
Yeah. It's wild. That's a good point too, though. Like, because you are like coming of age in all these moments. And it's just like, yeah, if you were where you were 5 years ago, you handle things so differently versus how you're handling them now. And
well, I also think too, part of it was the process of like radical self-love, which was again like my therapist thing. It's like you really have to be like, I love this person even though she made this decision. Like, because I think about like how you are with your family and friends. Like my friend came over last night, we were watching Love is Blind, she told me the craziest stuff. I was like, why are you doing this? But I still love her, you know? And I was like, you have to give that to yourself too. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why my 5-year-old self, like I can try to put, research behind like why my 5-year-old self drew herself as a white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes, but like, I can't hate her for it. Mm-hmm. That really defeats the purpose of like trying to like actually garner self-love. Like, so you have to work on it, I guess.
How do you think being a token Black girl has affected your dating life? Because I feel like you didn't really go into it that much.
Yeah, we got some sprinklings.
Yeah, we got a little.
Dating.
If you couldn't tell, they're nosy.
I think it would have been real complicated to put in the book, because I'm still living it. Like I'm still single, I don't really have like a perfect like answer or like way to like reflect on it properly. I mean, I guess I have a large data set at this point, but but I have like more clarity. Like I can write about high school and college because it's been years since that, but I'm kind of still in it. And in the last year, I also moved states completely, which was like a total surprise in terms of like how like I am navigating like the dating scene. So the things I'll say is it definitely like gave me very low self-esteem. Like with men, it always just like, I guess, quote unquote, I hate this like term, but I don't know a better term to use, like friend zone, yourself, or like friend zone them. I don't think that's like really a thing, but I guess I think
it's a thing, girl.
Maybe subconsciously put off like friendly energy so that I don't have to be vulnerable and be like, oh, I maybe like this person, or like I'm sipping a toe out here to be like, I'm interested in you.
Yeah.
As a way of protecting myself from being rejected.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's this tweet, and it's like, and I don't know if you guys can relate, but it's like, you're not ugly. You're just a Black girl that went to an all-white school. It's like,
yes.
Like,
yes,
really
I see it all the time on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I had an interview with a girl who grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and she was like, no one told me I was pretty until I was in my 20s. Like,
wow.
Yeah,
and that was like a lot of people's, kind of experience.
I know we're coming up on time, but like, what are your thoughts on interracial dating?
What are your thoughts,
I've always dated interracially. I don't really know why personally. I'm like, at this age, I would limit the amount of partners
the data set. Yep.
I'm already in trouble because I'm straight. Like I cursed to be straight. So I already have an issue. I was like, I'm not gonna further like chop it up. But I've always, I mean, if I wasn't open to interracial dating, I would not have like dated anyone till I was like 28 years old, so
because you didn't, I guess.
Wait, does that mean you've never dated a Black guy?
Until I was 28.
Oh, until you're 28.
But you weren't in environments around where you had like a big dating pool of Black men, I guess.
I did not. Yeah. I mean, I went to NYU. Not a lot of men, not a lot of straight men.
You got to get on Soul Swipe.
I had a lot of luck on Soul Swipe when it first came out. I really did.
I was on Soul Swipe, but I did not have a lot of luck. I had a lot of luck. Cupid.
Not Soul Swipe, getting a free promo.
Right. If it even exists.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it's around anymore.
Now, right?
I have a question because both of us share a doctor, even though I no longer go to him. But Dr. Passler.
Oh, yeah.
Does he know about this book?
I don't know. I mean, I had to like, it was a really painful breakup. I had to break up with him. And so we don't communicate anymore.
For those who didn't read the book, who was Dr. Passler?
Yes, thank you for that segue. So Dr. Passler is this chiropractor / nutritionist. He is responsible for like a lot of famous people's diets and bodies. He works a lot with supermodels like Adriana Lima, Bella Hadid, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, all of those people. He sees everybody. Like it was like he has a lot of influence, but he had me on more increasingly extreme diets and would just be like, you should just keep losing more weight. And I just felt like in order for me to get healthy, I needed to stop talking to him.
Mm.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I was seeing him too, and I lost a lot of weight.
Mhm.
And the feeling of people, it did feel good when people were like, "Oh, you look so good. Like, you look so good. Like, you lost so much weight. Like, you look so good." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not eating food. I'm not eating."
Yeah, I know.
And you're
And now
complimenting
it's like
me.
now that I'm on the other side of it, like I've gained 70 pounds, and it's like I don't hear like compliments like that anymore. It's really hard. It makes me not want to do things. It makes me not want to be in photo shoots. Like I can't fit into samples. Like I just want to like hide all the time. I mean, now I'm in book promo, so I can't be doing that. So it takes like a lot for me to like want to like pump myself up, especially in like a fashion space. Like I also moved out of New York City to like kind of get away from that. Cause if you're going to fashion parties every night and everyone's like, oh, let me dress you. And then you got to like stand next to like everybody's like super skinny. Like if you're like in, recovery mode, it's like really, really hard. So
Yeah. We'll tell you, you look great, girl.
Yeah, you
Fuck
do.
all
You
that
look
shit.
You're glowing.
I'm loving the
Yeah.
braids.
Really.
Gorgeous.
thank you.
I'm like, you got ass. I would love some of that ass.
And truly, congratulations on the book, and we just
Yeah.
commend you for the honesty, and
Yeah,
so
the
many people will
vulnerability.
continue to see themselves in this book. And thank you for stepping into the group chat.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having me. This was like actually so fun. I wish I got to hear you guys talk more. I feel like I talk too much.
No. And you're literally welcome back anytime. I'm not gonna lie, you are so nice. And I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my God, is she not gonna be nice? But you were really nice and like so open and so vulnerable. So we appreciate
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. As you can tell, I just say whatever the fuck is on my mind.
I love it.
But we really appreciate you joining the group chat. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Please
you.
come
We
back.
love the book.
Yeah.
Please come back. We can have like a
we
part
have
two
so many more
and just
questions
like
for you.
talk shit and have like a good
we literally have
time.
over 100 questions.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We have not even.
Yeah,
And we haven't
I would
touched
love to come back.
half
This is
of
like
them.
the most fun podcast ever.
Yes.
Let's hear that.
Maybe we could do
Oh
a
my
live
gosh.
thing too. That would be fun at Soho House. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got things in the works.
We'll chat.
Maybe LA. Okay, yeah. All right.
But thank you so much. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to get off your chest to our listeners, or you want to share?
Anything coming up where they can find you? Readings?
I don't know when this is airing, but I will be in LA on the 11th at Soho Works, November 11th, and at Reformation on Melrose on November 14th.
Oh, I'm gonna come. I'm here.
Great.
I live in LA now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
love
really
that.
fun. Brooke England is my partner for Soho Works. She's my ex-coworker from BET. She's hilarious and very funny. And then Brittany Hampton is my partner for
awesome.
the Reformation one. She was famously on the DVF reality show where she was a token Black girl. So
yes.
Oh, that'll be
I forgot
interesting
about that
conversation.
show.
I know, right?
That was a spicy one. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you having me.
Of course.
What would you do?
This What Would You Do is sadly quite timely. But what would you do if you went to karaoke and a white person, not your friend, don't know them, but they were in the mix, says nigga?
I'm gonna say, you're a disgusting pig, Karen, and leave.
You're leaving the karaoke.
And here's the thing. Let's add a little extra sazon, because I was contemplating this topic earlier today, and I remembered that I actually went to a karaoke one time when somebody did it, and it slipped out of their mouth, just like slipped out.
I'm sorry, if you white, it doesn't slip out.
No,
you
but
know not to say the damn word.
So imagine though that they're singing it and they double down, like said it.
Oh, they kept saying it?
Correct.
Who is this person?
Thrice. A friend of a friend of a friend.
Now, even the slip out was crazy.
So 3 times removed.
The slip out was wild too, though, just to we'll compare scenarios. The slip out was wild. I was so taken aback when I heard it. And I realize now that that shit is like so embedded. Like I cannot even look at that person the same ever again. And they said it like under their breath. Person. Yes, somebody I know.
Because why did it come out of your mouth so easily?
Right. So I'm like, so you be in the house saying it, you wish you could say it. Like very fucking weird.
Did they run up to you and say sorry?
No, we were
Oh, so
singing
they don't
karaoke.
respect
We were
you.
singing karaoke, and they were like singing, and they just like said
No.
it under their breath, kind of like, and they
That's
probably were like,
disrespectful.
"Oh."
Mm-mm.
Actually, I don't think there. I saw any remorse. Now, in this hypothetical situation that you just proposed to us, Sade, is there remorse from the person? Is there like a, oh my,
I'm gonna just
said it
tell
twice.
it how it is. This random white bitch came to my karaoke night that I planned and invited my friends, and because Glenn's bitch ass didn't come,
Right, I'm gonna
we
say
didn't
it's
have
my
enough people in the
Wow.
room.
Brings us back to the red
So,
from earlier.
correct. Bring us back to the red because you know we always circle back. And it's Friday night karaoke. So I think people were like, oh, well, you know, people didn't come. So I'm going to invite my friend who then invited their friend. And this bitch really said nigga 3 times.
3 times, triple
And
down.
then my
What kind of white is
half-black
she?
friend, I don't know what the fuck white she was.
But like an
I can't even-
alternative is
Like
giving
Puerto
like an
Rican?
alternative hipster white girl.
No, it was like hipster white girl. I didn't get into her heritage. White passing, so
The
white.
craziest thing I've ever
And my mixed
Are you
race
out of your
friend
mind?
blacks on her. And I'm just there like in shock and also tired because we had been just like, this was the same week we recorded the episode that we recorded this episode. And I was just like, I don't feel like policing
Yeah,
white
it's
people
exhausting.
when they make stupid mistakes and they do stupid stuff. I just wanted to come here and sing Olivia Newton-John. And now you're being weird saying nigga. And now you're being weird taking up space. And you're like, I'm going to go. Yeah, bitch, go. But now the whole vibe is off because now everyone feels bad and they want to coddle the only black person in the room.
Right.
Oh, they felt bad for her?
No,
No. They
for
felt bad for
Sade.
me.
But that makes it even more
So
off.
the girl leaves.
In a weirder predicament.
Right. And now it's just, the vibe is ruined. Do I want to sit here now and sing Toni Braxton? No, not really.
So
Not
how
really.
much longer did y'all stay? Like, damn, yeah, you can't even really come back from that.
We stayed for maybe like an hour more.
Ruined the
but
whole
like,
vibe.
Yeah, the whole
That
vibe
is
is ruined.
so
Everyone was like, let's
fucked.
try to re-raise the morale. And I had so many songs in my fucking list of things that I wanted to sing. I
Did the
didn't
white
even get
woman-
into any musicals.
Did the white woman pay for the karaoke session?
She did.
Oh, good. Like for
She should've
everyone.
paid for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
No,
No,
she
she
should have paid
didn't
for
have
the
to pay
whole
for the whole
thing.
For the whole thing, you ruined the whole vibe. Pay for
ruined
the whole
it.
session.
She should have paid for the whole thing. You're right. I should find her and send her my Venmo.
I hope she went home and is thinking about
Send a
that.
Venmo. Send a Zelle.
I just how?
Well, your Metro PCS Wi-Fi won't let us know what you think.
Oh Jesus. I don't know why the fuck this
We don't
it
know
just
what you
drives
said.
me crazy. It drives me crazy. I was at my friend's house earlier and she was like, Optimum and Bed-Stuy is the worst. And I'm like, exactly. I'm trying to tell these people it's not just me. I'm in a bad.
So get Verizon. Why the fuck do you have Optimum?
Because I think that only Optimum you can have in this neighborhood. But no, but you have Verizon.
That's
right?
a lie because I have Verizon.
All right, I'm calling these.
Get on time and get better Wi-Fi. The end. Bye.
Bye,
I didn't
listeners.
sign
not
up for
patrons.
this. And
Thank
stop
you so
saying the N-word when you singing if you was doing it. And you
Stop
white.
saying the N-word. And that brings us back to the book, because imagine how many times you are the only Black person in the
Correct.
space and they're over there saying, oh my gosh. Anyways, y'all read the book. It's a great book. Hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, we are Black Girls Texting on all platforms except for I was going to say Twitter, which I don't even know if we want to be on Twitter anymore, but we'll talk about that later.
Elon's Twitter.
But yeah, so follow us on Patreon. There's some good stuff on there.
Yes.
Anyways,
Alrighty.
bye.
Bye.